Imagine you run the biggest empire on Earth. You've got legions, palaces, gold, and the kind of authority where your signature can change a continent. Now imagine the empire decides to try something bold, modern, and absolutely doomed. 2 emperors at the same time. 2 brothers. 2 co-CEOs of Rome. What could possibly go wrong? Well, picture this. You're sharing the throne with your brother, and you hate him. He hates you. You both have your own bodyguards, your own advisors, your own fans in the streets, and you're both convinced the other guy is plotting to kill you first. And then, instead of negotiating like an adult, you decide to solve it the Roman way. Murder, followed by a city-wide purge, followed by rewriting the rules of citizenship for the entire empire, and then getting stabbed on the roadside by one annoyed soldier. Today on Royal Idiots, we're talking about Caracalla, the emperor who killed his brother, tried to survive the consequences, and left behind one of the most important legal changes in Roman history, while also making family dispute look like a polite understatement. Welcome to Royal Idiots, the podcast where we explore the most powerful bad decisions in history. I'm your host, Melissa, and today we're looking at the life of Caracalla. To understand this story, we need to step into the Roman Empire at the beginning of the 3rd century. Rome isn't a small city-state anymore. It's a massive, sprawling machine stretching from Britain down through North Africa, across the Mediterranean, and into the Near East. Moving messages takes time. Moving armies takes even longer. Holding it all together requires money, legitimacy, and, ideally, an emperor who doesn't treat paranoia like a hobby. This is also a Rome that's jittery about succession. The old idea that emperors are chosen by merit or adopted for their ability has been, let's call it, inconsistent. More and more, power is tied to bloodlines, military loyalty, and who can keep the palace from turning into a knife fight. When emperors die, Rome holds its breath, because the next ruler might mean stability, or civil war, or both. Enter the Severan dynasty, a family that rises by being tough, politically sharp, and very good at convincing the army that their success is the army's success. Caracalla's father is Septimius Severus, a soldier emperor who wins a brutal struggle for power and then sets about strengthening the imperial system the way a general would, with discipline, rewards for loyalty, and a heavy emphasis on the military. Caracalla himself is born into this world as Lucius Septimius Bassianus, later known by the nickname Caracalla, supposedly from a hooded cloak style he favored. And right away, we're in that classic royal situation where your childhood isn't really a childhood. It's training. It's propaganda. It's being shaped into the next symbol of the empire. But Caracalla doesn't grow up alone in this story. He has a younger brother, Geta. And from the outside, you might think, okay, good. 2 sons means a secure succession, a stable dynasty, continuity. From the inside, 2 sons can mean only one thing, a countdown until someone decides there can only be one. By the time Caracalla and Geta are old enough to matter politically, their father is already positioning them as heirs. Titles are handed out. Honors are distributed. The empire is told, repeatedly, that the Severan line will continue and that the future is safe in these boys' hands. And if you're thinking, Melissa, I've seen how this goes. This is not going to be fine. You're correct. It is not going to be fine. As Caracalla grows older, it becomes clear that his defining personality trait is intensity. Not passionate about policy intensity. More like always ready to interpret disagreement as a threat intensity. He's drawn to military life, to the image of the warrior emperor. He wants the army's love, and he wants it loudly and publicly. Geta, meanwhile, seems to develop a different kind of presence. He's not necessarily the same sort of soldier-hero figure. And in a normal family, that could mean 2 brothers with different strengths. In an imperial palace, it means 2 factions start forming, because everyone in Rome is always placing bets on the future. Now, their father Septimius Severus knows the empire's weak point is succession, so he tries a strategy that sounds practical on paper: share power between the sons. If you can keep them from fighting, you get a smooth transition and a solid dynasty. If there's a moment, near the end of Severus's life, where he basically leaves his sons the kind of advice that sounds wise and also slightly terrifying. Take care of the soldiers, keep everyone else under control, and stick together. which is the Roman equivalent of telling your kids, "Be nice," while handing them both loaded weapons. When Severus dies, the empire gets the big announcement: Caracalla and Geta will rule jointly. Co-emperors. A united front. A shared throne. Rome tried Cosus, and it did not go well. Because almost immediately, the relationship collapses into open hostility. They don't just dislike each other, they distrust each other. They compete for the guard. They compete for the court. They compete for who gets to be seen as the real emperor. And in a system where being second is dangerous, every rivalry becomes life or death. If you're wondering what joint rule looks like when the joint part is missing, it looks like this: separate households, separate entourages, suspicion in every hallway. And the most ominous detail is that it's not just personal drama. Their feud infects the government. Officials get labeled as Caracalla's people or Geta's people. Every appointment is political. Every meeting is a risk. And then comes the plan that almost makes you laugh until you remember it's real. At some point, there are serious attempts to divide the empire. Basically, you take the Roman world and split it in half so the brothers don't have to deal with each other. It's like proposing a corporate breakup because the CEOs can't stop glaring at one another in meetings. But dividing Rome isn't simple. The empire is a web of provinces, taxes, armies, supply lines, and prestige. And there's also a huge symbolic problem. Rome is supposed to be one. The idea of splitting it feels like admitting the dynasty failed at its first crisis. So the brothers stay under the same imperial roof, and the tension just builds. And this brings us to the moment that defines our story. Instead of finding a workable arrangement, instead of using advisors, diplomacy, or even exile, Caracalla chooses the option that Rome's worst rulers always seem to choose when they feel threatened: remove the rival permanently. The setup is chilling in how domestic it sounds. Caracalla arranges a meeting with Geta, with their mother present. Their mother, Julia Domna, is not a background character here. She's powerful, politically experienced, and she's trying to hold her family and the empire together with her bare hands. The meeting is supposed to be a reconciliation. Or at least, that's the story. Brothers talk it out in front of Mom. Everyone calms down. Rome moves forward. But Caracalla's version of reconciliation is ambush. Geta is attacked and murdered right there, in front of their mother. In the imperial household. In the place that should be safest. Family disputes in ancient Rome escalated very quickly, and in this case they escalated straight into assassination. After Geta is dead, Caracalla does not do the thing a ruler might do if they were trying to calm the public. He doesn't limit the violence. He doesn't draw a line and say, "It ends here." Instead, he treats the murder as step one. Because the real problem, once you kill your co-emperor brother, is that the empire is full of people who liked him, or benefited from him, or served under him, or simply think you've crossed a line that makes you dangerous. So Caracalla launches a mass purge. Thousands are executed for being associated with Geta: supporters, perceived supporters, friends, officials, maybe people who were just unlucky enough to have spoken well of him once. In an atmosphere like that, guilt isn't something you prove. It's something someone suspects. And if you're thinking, how do you even run an empire while doing that? You don't, not well. You rule through fear. You force everyone to perform loyalty. You turn politics into survival. This is the part of the story where the throne stops looking like a prize and starts looking like a trap. Caracalla has eliminated his brother, but he hasn't eliminated the consequences of being the kind of man who would do it. Unsurprisingly, this decision had consequences. The first is legitimacy. Rome can tolerate a lot from emperors, but blatant family murder on this scale isn't a great look, even by Roman standards. Caracalla needs the public to accept a new reality. There was never really a we. There is only him. The second consequence is administrative. Purges don't just remove enemies. They remove experience. They remove stability. They wipe out networks that made government function. When you kill off large numbers of officials and elites, you create vacancies that get filled by whoever is loyal or whoever is useful in the moment, not necessarily who is competent. The third consequence is psychological and political. fear spreads upward. If Geta can be murdered in the palace, in a meeting with their mother, then nobody is safe. Not senators, not commanders, not even the people closest to the emperor. That kind of fear doesn't produce loyalty. It produces plotting. And then there's the army, always the army. Caracalla leans hard into being the soldiers' emperor. He understands that if he keeps the legions paid and proud, he can survive what the elites whisper. In imperial Rome, popularity in the Senate is a nice bonus. Popularity with armed men is survival. Now, here's where the story takes an interesting turn, because Caracalla isn't only remembered for murder and purges. He's also tied to a massive legal change, the Citizenship Edict, often described as granting Roman citizenship broadly across the empire. On the surface, this sounds almost progressive, even visionary. Roman citizenship was a valuable status. It came with legal protections and social prestige. Extending it widely changes what being Roman means. It pulls more people into the official identity of the empire. But in true royal idiot's fashion, we should ask, why did he do it? Was it idealism? A grand plan for unity? Or was it something more practical, like administrative control and, yes, money? Because citizenship wasn't just a cultural label. It was tied to taxes and legal obligations. Expanding citizenship could simplify governance, reinforce loyalty, and expand the taxable base in certain ways. In other words, it can be both a big historical shift and also a ruler trying to stabilize his position after turning the palace into a crime scene. And that's Caracalla in a nutshell, a reign where huge, empire-shaping policy exists side by side with a level of personal violence that poisons everything around it. Even with the army's support, even with citizenship reforms, even with fear doing some of the governing for him, Caracalla can't outrun the kind of instability he created. When your rule begins with murdering your brother, you teach the empire a lesson. The fastest way to a political solution is a blade. Eventually, Caracalla meets the ending that so many violent rulers meet: assassination. He's killed by a soldier, disgruntled, angry, or simply pulled into the logic of Rome's power politics. The details vary depending on which sources you emphasize, but the outcome doesn't. Caracalla is removed the way he removed others, abruptly and without ceremony. And just like that, the terrifying question returns to Rome: who's next, and how much blood will it take to get there? Despite the chaos of his reign, Caracalla left a lasting mark on history. The murder of Geta became a symbol of imperial succession at its most brutal. Not an orderly transfer of power, not a family legacy, but a competition where the loser dies and the winner spends the rest of his reign looking over his shoulder. His Citizenship Edict, though, points to a longer arc Rome was changing. The empire couldn't remain a club for a narrow slice of people in Italy and a handful of privileged provincials. Broadening citizenship helped reshape the relationship between the center and the provinces. It contributed to the idea of a more unified imperial identity, at least on paper. So the legacy is complicated. Caracalla is remembered as cruel, paranoid, and shockingly willing to kill his own brother. But is also associated with a policy that, for better or worse, pushed Roman law and identity into a new phase. It's a reminder that history's villains can still leave behind reforms, and that reforms don't automatically make someone wise, stable, or good. So how should we judge Caracalla? On the royal idiot scale, I'm giving him legendary idiot. And I don't say that because every single thing he did was foolish. The citizenship expansion, for example, was significant and not inherently stupid. The reason he earns the legendary category is that he chose the most catastrophic, trust-destroying option at the center of his reign, murdering his co-emperor brother in front of their mother, then trying to govern through mass executions. That kind of decision doesn't just remove one rival. It damages the entire political ecosystem. It turns every relationship into a potential threat. It encourages future violence. And it makes your rule dependent on fear and soldierly backing, which is a shaky foundation when the soldiers are also the ones with the knives. Caracalla didn't just fail at joint rule. He proved why joint rule becomes impossible when the system has no safe off-ramp for rivalry. Rome tried Cosus, and Caracalla responded by firing the other CEO, permanently, and then firing half the staff just in case they'd liked him. Next time on Royal Idiots, we'll explore the story of Maximinus Thrax, the giant who took power. If you enjoyed this episode, follow the podcast and share it with a fellow history fan. And if you ever find yourself thinking, maybe I could share absolute power with my bitter rival, remember Caracalla and Geta, and maybe don't.